Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saeed Bagil. I'm a global brand consultant, author, and speaker. It's always a pleasure making one of these videos so I can share my knowledge. And like I said previously, my purpose is always about empowering startup, SMEs, corporate over there on brand because we unfortunately in the region lack the proper understanding of brand. What we apply is not necessarily brand, it's static. So that's why the reason our businesses remain the same size. Even our business strategies are something we keep in the shelf. It's not something that we apply. I rarely see when I look at most business strategies, I rarely see the vision that makes sense or a mission that makes sense. So usually it's something that has been written, proper, beautiful word, workshop done between few people within the office, and this is what we're going to go with, and so on. So it's interesting. It's interesting. We're in interesting times. I think the whole world is going to change on us, and we're part of that world. We're part of that world. It's something that I've been struggling with that I wanted to highlight. Unfortunately, seriously, for a very long time, I thought that Almarai brand is one of the very, very extremely few brand that applied the fundamental of brand and applied the essence of brand. Their core essence was very clear, their positioning, everything. So positioning will go into the marketing mix, which is also very clear, but also the brand has been personified. There's a strong connection with the brand. But unfortunately, these past 2 years, I don't understand what is Marai doing. I mean, moving away from their core essence of fresh and introducing powdered milk. And I've spoke about this powdered milk in the past. They've extended their SKUs left and right. Is it just about market share? Usually market share does not mean improving your bottom line. It's actually also taking your brand out of the core, which is your most important asset. What would you do that for? Word that Marai has lived among all of us, knowing that in Marai is a word called fresh and quality been in the heart of it. And quality is definitely where we look at. When we say dairy, we always look at Marai as quality. When I used to live in Saudi, other than Marai, there's nothing else I would use because not only that the brand associates with me, it's because the brand keeps its promise and very consistent on his promise. And it's the only brand within the dairy product category that I consider a brand. The rest, I think they're mostly commodity and noise. So introducing that didn't make sense at all. It didn't make sense. Why would I buy a powdered milk from Marai when I know Marai is fresh? Can someone really answer that question for me? It's difficult. Let me go to the other side. Let's say Marai did that. Let's go to the categories of the dairy product category. And I want to put a case study just in front of you right now so you guys are able to test that it makes sense. If Marai, the fresh milk, raised their price, customers will react for sure, but they'll still buy. Absolutely buy. But if Halib Saudiya raised the price, customer will react? No. In fact, they will drop Halib Saudiya and continue or buy Marai. Because Halib Saudiya is an option. Marai is not. Marai is a brand. Halib Saudiya is not a brand. By brand practice, it's not a brand. I wouldn't care who gets upset. It's not my job. Like I said previously, my purpose is to empower people and make sure that we get the right information on brand. Halib Saudiya is not a brand. Somebody come argue with me and say, look at their stocks. Habibi, stocks is one thing and everyday market reality is another thing. You comparing, look at their Sadafco stock that Halib Saudiya contributed to. The stock market is something else. We're talking about market penetration. Yes, it's true. Holistic approach, stock, and so on. But we're focusing in one area. So most of the time when you argue something like this, oh, look at their stocks. Well, it's not my focus, Halib Saudiya, not Sadafco. So Halib Saudiya, would I drop in Marai for Halib Saudiya? No. And millions like me won't. Millions like me won't. Because there's a greater purpose. There's a clear core essence. There's a clear emotional values and functional values. And there's a clear point of difference that the brand has built on for a very long time and have loyal followers. Halib Saudiya doesn't. So in the case that Halib Saudiya raises its price, customers leave. That means the brand lacks loyalty. Absolutely. What happens when Apple raises their price? Everybody, not a word. Samsung, on the other hand, is an option. Samsung is a price brand. The phone is Samsung, the operating system is Android. And in the case of Apple, the phone is Apple, the operating system is iOS, which is owned by Apple. So there's an exclusive experience there where put Apple on a niche, which pushes them to a brand level. So it's amazing that we see how brands are able to impact. But unfortunately, there's only few distinctive brands in our region. The rest are not. Because the mindset, like I said before, it's a trading mindset. It's not a brand mindset. It's absolutely a trading mindset. What do you think about is rebate, price? No, 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 no. Nothing that builds on the brand. It's always what builds on the price. Nothing builds on the brand. It's always what builds on the price. And unfortunately, when you always build on the price, you leave the customer or the consumer on an option, saying that that's the only single value that you bring in, which he questions everything else that you have. He questions your core essence. He questions your positioning. He questions even the quality of your product. Price is not something that you always play with, So again, also, which is very important, let me go back to Marai. And if they're listening to this video, I encourage you to go back to your core essence. You built a legacy brand for so long. For so long, you've been the example across the region, and the hope that you will be one that is going beyond the region. And today, brand experts like me are questioning where you're heading. And it's not just about pleasing the board. It's about sustaining the most important asset you own, which is your brand, Marai. Your brand. Take care of your brand, it will take care of your employees. And if you don't take care of your brand, you're going to have a problem.